Hi guys, this is Lydia, the lifestyle coach, and I am excited to chat with you about our topic today. I work with lots of people all around the world in making lifestyle changes, in making, especially with, healthy eating, getting rid of binge eating, like all those sorts of things. So in that, there's this thing about how you're not an island and there are people all around you and they all have their own opinions. And so I'm going to talk to you today about how to really create an environment where people can help you and support you in changes that you want to make. And it's not always a simple thing. And a lot of times it's not at all what our intuition is telling us would help. So, for instance, here's an example of what we might think we can say to people to help us support us in our healthy eating or whatever change you want to make that actually isn't as effective as we think. So, one way that a lot of people will try was they start telling people about what their goals are. Hey, I'm going to be eating healthier. Hey, I don't want to eat sugar anymore. And they just tell a lot of people they're around, their friends and their family, because there's this idea that if I make a declaration and if I put a lot of outward pressure on myself, it's going to keep me in line. I have so many people saying hey, I really want to come to you because, I want support. I want somebody to hold me accountable. I want the pressure. I want the, okay. So a lot of us will kind of intuitively think that, but I'll tell you the downfalls of what happens. Okay, so we start telling everyone, hey, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to eat healthy. You might have gone up to a friend before and say, hey, you have permission to slap a cupcake out of my hand. And we think oh, if we say this to people, hey, I'm not going to eat cupcakes, you can slap them out of my hand. We think, oh, that will keep me from doing it. So here's what actually happens in your brain when that happens. And feel free to go ahead and post any comments or questions. I think I'll see them here and I can answer them live if you want, because we're live, so I can do that. And hello, for those of you just joining us. Our topic is how to get support from people when making a healthy change. So here's the downfall. You start telling people, and people want to help you. These are your friends, they're your family. They genuinely want to help you, and all they know is how you're telling them to help you. And all you know is how you think will help you, which isn't always the case. So I find time and time again, I've coached hundreds of people. This is a really clear pattern. Pressure and accountability and have to and hey, now this is my decision actually a lot of times backfires. So you say, hey, go ahead, you have permission to slap a cupcake out of my hand. And all of a sudden you've put this pressure on your brain of, oh my gosh, now everyone knows. And it actually will drive up your cravings. That cupcake that you said your friend could slap out of your hand, all of a sudden becomes incredibly more appealing than it would have before, because you've created this appeal of well, first of all, now I'm saying that I can't have cupcakes, so now the cravings actually go up. That's not an intuitive thing, but tell yourself that you can't have cupcakes, all of a sudden you want cupcakes, okay? So your cravings are going to go up for that. Number two, you've built this pressure of now everyone knows that I'm not eating cupcakes. Not only am I not eating them, but now everybody knows that I'm not eating cupcakes, okay? So now there's tons of pressure, and if you've ever done the you get home and then you eat 10 cupcakes in secret, it's because you built this pressure, right? But in your mind, you were well, if I can just create the pressure and tell people, I won't do it. So I'm letting you know, it's not true. There's a better way. There's a better way to do this. So instead of creating the pressure and the deprivation and all of that, go ahead and take the pressure off. I know that this is not intuitive, but just try it. So if I say oh, I love the comments. Yeah, our brain is so strange. It totally is. What we think will help us doesn't help us. So get data from people who have a lot of data. You find really clear patterns when you coach so many people of oh, this works and this doesn't work. And just these neuroscience principles of how our brain works. So if I tell you right now, hey, there's a cupcake shortage, or I'm just going to reinforce. I'll hold a, sword at your door and I'll never let you have cupcakes again. You want them, even if you didn't want them before, more than anything else. So actually giving yourself permission, like this little mantra of like, I can have whatever I want, however much I want, anytime that I want. Intuitively, like what you will think is like, well, I'd go crazy. I just eat anything. I'd eat everything. I would just, binge eat until I pass out. Actually, if you can have whatever you want, like imagine you have like a cupcake buffet in your house and you're gonna have it till the day you die. They're just always cupcakes. Chances are you probably won't want a cupcake because, well, I can get a cupcake tomorrow, right? Like, or, oh man, cupcakes are always around. Those aren't special at all. So you're removing the specialness, you're removing the pressure. Like that's how cravings work. And then you get to choose. Like if you want a cupcake, you can have it. But sometimes when we just feel like we can't have it, then we'll want it. And then we won't even enjoy it when we have it. So that was a little bit of a tangent out on the side there, but that's kind of how cravings work. So driving up that pressure when you're asking for support from other people, not always the best thing to do. So here's some great tips for you guys. Number one is choose who has the right to know your story. Like instead of this big declaration of like, okay, everyone, I'm not going to eat cupcakes ever again. Like, you don't, like if you just are willy-nilly and just tell people that, then a lot of times people will want to support you, but they don't know how, and you'll drive up this pressure. So Brene Brown says something that I love. She says, tell your story to those who have the right to know. So if you want support from people, I would select people who have the right to hear your story. Like somebody who you know and you trust, maybe somebody who's with you, maybe not somebody who is in the past, like been all militant about like, well, all right, now it's my personal mission to make you do what you said. Even though intuitively, if you think that's what you need, just know that that's not usually the way that it is, okay? So the other thing that you can do is don't just tell people that you want their help, tell them how they can help you. So if you say, hey, I would really like your help and support in, helping me be healthy, they'll just do what they think will help you, which may or may not be a real thing. So when you look at that, like what data have you gathered in the past that has helped you for real? So, okay, when I tell people slap a cupcake out of my hand, that hasn't actually helped me. So what has really helped you? So you choose the people that have the right to know your story and will be real supporters of you, and then tell them specifically how to help you. So for instance, my husband is one of those people that like, I can ask for help and I can specifically tell. So and we won't always know what will help us. So I'll give you a little bit of experience from my own story, and then you can tell me, you can even chat here. Oh my goodness, I love this. I should just go through these comments in a second. So feel free to, I'll go through these in a second if you guys have any questions or comments. These are awesome. So, here's something that really helps me. So this is a way to take down the pressure, take down the deprivation in your mind, and that might actually help. So I'm not about like, ooh, this is a trendy, cool thing to say that, this is like, okay, this is real data. This is what actually helps. It may not be intuitive, maybe counterintuitive, but this is something that can actually help your brain be in a better place to feel supported and to bring down cravings and to just help you to make the better choices that you want to make. So if let's say like, hey, I've been kind of getting into too much sugar and like, I really feel better when I'm not eating so much sugar. This is what I tell my husband. I say, hey, hun, like I would really like to set aside sugar for the next few days. So notice the elements here. One, it's not this, I'll never eat sugar again. Okay. Make it something light, like the next few days for the rest of the day. Like make it light, your commitment. Number two, did you notice how I said set aside? I'm not saying I can't have it. Setting aside means like I choose and I'm choosing to not have it right now and I'll probably have it another time, right? So not a big commitment and just like, hey, okay, so hey, hun, I would really like to just like set aside sugar for the next few days. Can I ask for your support? And can I tell you exactly how you can support me? Are you willing to do it the way that I need support? Okay, like ask, get permission, like this is a real thing, okay? So, this is something that you can make sure that you get permission and have somebody who's willing to help you, or it's not going to be great support, okay? Because if you talk to somebody who has a really strong opinion of how they can help you, right? If they're like, oh, well, no, don't do that. Here's what you need to do. Like, avoid that. Avoid the people who are willing to do what you need, not the people who have a really strong stance about how they think is the right way to do it. Does that make sense? Okay, love it. So, okay, hey, hun, I'd really like to set aside sugar for the next few days. Will you support me? And can I tell you how to support me in the way that I need it? Are you willing to do that? Okay, get buy-in. Yes. Okay, awesome. Hey, if we're at a party, that's kind of like a thing for me. Like if there's like, oh, like these little flags, like this food is free. This food is special because I'm at a party, even though I could go down to the grocery store and get those same cupcakes that Mary brought. You know what I mean? Like that's another video. But if I'm going into a situation where it might be a little hard, I tell my husband, okay, so here's what I'm asking from you. If you see me kind of circling the dessert table, or you can kind of tell, he's pretty good at recognizing the crazy in me, So I'll say, will you just come and give me a hug and ask me, what's the chatter? And if you don't know what I mean by what's the chatter, go to lydiavideo.com. That's my YouTube channel. I was a binge eater for a lot of years. Totally free from that now, and I have little fun videos to teach you how to be totally free of food shoes. That's what I call them, food issues, overeating, binge eating, those sorts of things. So one element of that is I call the chatter. So I say, give me a hug, ask me, hey, what's the chatter? Because that's what I know that I need. What's the chatter? And then will you remind me that I can eat whatever I want, as much as I want, whenever I want. And then just let me do whatever I'm going to do. And what I know is that that actually diffuses it. That actually helps you to just, one, feel supported, two, bring down the pressure. Because if I were to think that hey, hun, slap the cupcake out of my hand or tell me I can't have it, what's really going to happen is I'm going to want it a lot more, and I'm going to feel this pressure, and I'm going to feel this deprivation. So it's actually usually that, kindness. And it might be kind of scary for you if somebody's asking you to support them in this, but realize what the alternative is. The alternative, if you do the thing, slap the cupcake, it's not really going to help people for the most part. That's not how our brains work. So it's just really that support. It's that empathy. It's when somebody's really sad and your intuition, or I don't want to down intuition. Intuition can be a very good thing, but I'm saying that first pop culture answer that's going to come into your mind that's kind of oh, this person is sad. I should tell them all of the great things, all of the silver lining. Oh, I'm so sorry your best friend died, but think of everything you'll learn from that experience. If you say that to somebody, I'm giving that person permission to punch you in the face. That's not what people need right then. What people actually need is empathy, right? They don't need all these reasons to feel better. They need someone to be there with them and say, hey, this sucks. I don't even fully understand. I have not had this kind of loss in my life. I know this is probably awful for you and it sucks, and I'm here with you, and however you feel right now is totally valid. You didn't give them any answers. You just let them know you're there. That's not always the intuitive thing. So go off of the things that work, not necessarily the things that pop up in your hey, I saw this in a magazine or whatever, so just kind of back up. Empathy is always better. Comfort is always better. And hopefully that'll give you a couple of tips for helping people to support you in your health goals and your health journey. Just a better habit that you want to form. So, take off the pressure. Ask people for what you need in the way that you need it. That may not be the same way that I said. Just gather the data from what's actually worked for you. And then just go for it. And for any other helps on your journey that you need, again, lydiavideo.com. There's great videos to subscribe to there. At lydiawente.com. There's also a lot of great resources for just really changing habits for real. Oh, and I love all of these comments. Thanks guys for watching. Yeah, you're right. Our brain is such a crazy place. I really think that's we have this amazing evolved brain that we don't really understand, but we live out of it. We live out of this brain, and we have all sorts of competing voices in our brain and competing messages. You can want opposing things at the same time from this brain. It's incredible. So I really think that one of the best things in life is just to understand how our brain actually works, because this is where we're going to spend the rest of our lives. So yeah. Okay, beautiful. Yeah, just some comments about yeah, it's not about deprivation. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah, if you have a lot of it around, if it's not a special thing, realize what's really special. Don't just think it's special because it's in front of you. It's oh, could I get this somewhere else? So anyway, thank you guys so much for all of your participation. Feel free to make a comment on any other live feed topics that you'd like to hear about. If you go to lydiawente.com, there's also a free ebook called How to Stop Binge Eating. It's a free download. It comes right to your e-box. Your email inbox. Let's just call it an e-box. Let's do that now. Anyway, Lydia Wente, the lifestyle coach, signing off. See you guys. Mwah.